Prepare yourself! Foul knave! Taste my steel! Yuck! Need salt! Dorcas, I'm gonna be firm and explicit. I don't think these recruits will last a single enemy phase on the battlefield.
Maybe log off so Ray needs forest and touch a real forest tile once in a while. There's no need for such elitist gatekeeping. Not every unit can be Marcus or Pent at base.
Well, surely they have exceptional growth rates given their horrific bases?
Fear not, I recruited only the finest interns in Elib.
I see. We might need 6-star tactics to win this one.
The gates are open.
The gates are open. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for Fire Emblem Casuals versus Elitists. A PowerPoint presentation. By Imported Cheese, that's me. Thanks for watching. First, very important question. Why should you listen to what I have to say? Well, here are my professional credentials as a tactician. I am a certified Gold Star Tactician. On multiple occasions, I have earned the esteemed Suspect Mind ranking. You can see here, to this day, historians look back and question how these incomprehensible strategies ever led to victory. Now, there's two ways you could look at that. You could say that these strategies were so baffling that nobody could understand them. But the other way is, these strategies are so ingenious that nobody could understand them, eh? Now that's a gold star tactic. I have a rich history in the LTC community. I've played almost every game in the series. The only one I haven't is Fire Emblem 12, New Mystery of the Emblem, Heroes of Light and Shadow. And it's not because the game was only released in Japanese, okay? 言語力の問題ではないんだよ。問題はこの野郎。おい、クリスちゃん、ちょっとどいてもらわないか? But yes, I have a ton of experience in the LTC community. If you are looking for a large turn count run, I'm your guy. We are talking for sure double digits, possibly even triple digits on a single chapter. There's really no way you can match me when it comes to LTC runs. And most recently, I actually saved the entire continent of Elib in an Iron Man context, so not pulling any punches, playing as Kaga would have intended, and with only minor casualties, just the heir to the Austrian throne. She might have died, but you know what? I don't think it was a great loss. Honestly, I don't think she was the right fit to lead Austria anyway. What? No, not because she's a woman. What's wrong with you? Beat it, chick.
Come at me.
Disgusting. Because she's a mage. I wouldn't expect a mage to understand the struggles of the common armor knight, okay? Also, she's definitely not durable. Whoops. Question you might have been wondering, why even talk about this, right? Who cares about the casual versus elitist debate? I wouldn't say that I'm very active in the Fire Emblem community at large. I mostly interact with just viewers of my own channel, so of course, we're always using echoed voice. I only ever hear that I'm correct. And I recently joined a playtest for a Fire Emblem 7 ROM hack. Fire Emblem 7 Legacy should be coming out kind of soon. It may even be out at the time you're watching this video. And this was my first real interaction with other Fire Emblem players, sort of as equals, right? Without me on this pulpit that's in the upper right of the screen. And I had this interaction, which kind of opened my eyes. You could say it made me woke. Now, of course, I've anonymized them, and in fact, I am depicting them as the Chad, and myself as the Soy Jack. In fact, I basically look exactly like the Chud Soy Jack anyway, right? It's not that much of a stretch. For context of what they're about to say, this was in response to me attempting to quantify how valuable different stats were in terms of unit ranking. So I'm talking about speed, movement, strength, defense, luck, all of those. I ended up saying what I thought was, I think, very uncontroversial, which is that movement and speed are the best stats, by a lot. I think my most controversial stat take would be that I think luck is actually pretty good. I think luck is like a B tier stat that you would immediately notice if you removed it from the game. I never imagined there would be pushback against saying that movement and speed were the best, and yet, I got pushed. I'll be honest, the whole speed and movement are the best just sounds like elitist jargon. Sure, doubling is nice, but that isn't the end all for what makes something good. Every unit has a purpose and are balanced in a certain way. Not only did they make this statement, but there were emoji reactions agreeing with it, which is of course the ultimate sign that you've been owned on the internet. So this really did make me think, wait a minute. Am I so out of touch? No. It's the casuals who are wrong. But this also got me thinking, maybe I really am out of touch with the average player, because I've been playing these games for so long and in such a comparatively serious context that something that seems completely incontrovertible, is that a word? Something that seems so entrenched as to be irrefutably true may actually be up for debate. Maybe I am wrong. And that's why we're gathered here today to talk about Fire Emblem casuals versus elitists. Joining me today are the viewers who, according to a poll that has been running, are 60% casuals and 39% elitists, so elitist bros, we're outnumbered, but good thing we've got better stats and traits as units, right? We might be in trouble. Now, for this poll, I didn't actually define what I meant by casual and elitist, so let's do that. What makes a casual or an elitist? Casual players. Haha, I'm not used to being so casual. And I'm painting with very, very broad strokes here, and I'm not an artist, so I might actually be painting outside the lines. Generally, right? Amelia is good in general. Generally, play on lower difficulties, maybe not even to completion of the game. They may literally play on casual mode, where units actually don't die permanently, or even on Phoenix mode, which I think is a game mode where your units literally come back on the same map. I've never played casual or Phoenix mode, I'm not sure. The only Phoenix I know is the level 6 Blood Mage one. Vengeance burns, okay? Rarely, if ever, metagame by looking up maps or strategies. They'll just pop the cartridge in the system. To the extent that they do ask for tips and tricks, it might be from their friends, because as we might be discussing soon, casuals have friends and elitists might not. And it might be their fault that they're alone. Uh-oh. And casuals value units based on vibes. This guy looks cool, I'm gonna use him. This girl looks cute, I'm gonna use her. Is vibes still a term that kids use? I'm gonna use this unit because he's based. I'm not gonna use this unit because he's mid. How did you like my youngster cosplay? Very convincing, right? Now that we've attempted to define casuals, let's take a look at elitists. Elitist players. Do I look like a man who listens to the opinions of peasants? Play on higher difficulties, usually multiple times, possibly even on New Game Plus. Impose challenges such as permadeath. I don't even know if that counts as a challenge. It's literally what Kaga wanted. Or LTC, in this case, not large turn count, the actual meaning, which is low turn count. It's not quite the same as a speedrun. A speedrun is literally based on real time. Like, you literally have to go fast. In a low turn count run, real time doesn't actually matter, only in-game turns. Elitists metagame so much, it's their main social hobby. Posting on Serenes Forest, posting on our Fire Emblem, talking about how Ike is Poonage incarnate. That is elitist metagaming. And perhaps most importantly for this discussion, elitists tend to value units based on performance. I think I've made it pretty obvious by this point which camp I fall into based on my generally condescending tone. Condescending means that I'm talking down to you, by the way. But I am obviously an elitist. And a car started right as I said that, so I have to do it again. If elitists think mounts are so good, why do you complain about cars, cheese? But I am obviously on Team Elitist. Would a casual have a graphic like this?
Something need doing?
I tribute 2 interns.
I can do that.
And I summon the unstoppable Gate Guardian. Negate all added effects from casual creatures, but you still take the damage. Sorry, pal. There's a 20 turn limit for the Afterlife Gaiden. And your Armor Knights just didn't make it. I'm actually gonna go one step beyond. Not only am I an elitist, I'm a professional elitist. And you might be thinking, wait, what? Are you gatekeeping elitist elitism? Oh, you bet I am.
Something need doing?
I tribute 2 interns.
I can do that.
I'm not gonna play the whole thing again, but what I mean by professional elitist is, I mean that literally. Being an elitist is my profession and income. The main thing that I do on this channel is make tier lists, either for Pokemon or for Fire Emblem, and tier lists by their very nature are elitist. I'm telling you my opinion, attempting to back it up with evidence, and expecting you to agree with it. One of the occupational hazards of YouTube is you open yourself up to insane commenters. I got a comment on one of my Fire Emblem Engage tier lists saying, "Why is this video 3 hours long? Just tell me your opinion on the units." What do you think that I'm talking about for 3.5 hours? If you don't say enough, they say you didn't back up your positions. If you say too much, they ask why the video is so long. The criticism is endless.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is?
We've decided to keep you here for another 50 cycles. With endless options for renew. With endless options for renew. With endless options for renew.
Hope is an illusion!
Even if it takes forever! Forever!
Madness will consume you! Oh my goodness, this is awful!
It's endless. How many Fire Emblem villains started out normal and gradually went insane? It's most of them, right? I'm waiting for my hero to toss his shield away and stab me in the head and put an end to this. Back to the PowerPoint, the crux of today's presentation. Why must we fight? Let's say that we're on a Fire Emblem message board and your average citizen comes by, hello villager, and asks a very reasonable question. Who should I use in Fire Emblem 7 Blazing Blade? I've noticed that casual advice tends to be framed in this light. Use Rebecca! She's awesome! It tends to be rather positive, right? It's an invitation to have fun. If you use Rebecca, you're gonna have a great time. Now, this is very bad advice because Rebecca is terrible, but it's not malicious advice. It's pretty hard to be mad at this suggestion. Meanwhile, the elitist suggestion tends to come in this format. Don't use Rebecca. She sucks. It tends to come in the form of a mild, but still negative put down. He's yucking your yum before you've even begun taste testing. Now, don't use Rebecca is actually good advice, but it seems malicious. And you're naturally inclined, if the advice is framed in these contexts, use this, she's awesome, or don't use this, she sucks, you're naturally inclined to lean towards the more positive vibes of the first suggestion, right? And something we haven't addressed yet, the terms casual and elitist, what are they? They're insults, right? By even using these terms, casual and elitist, we've already set up a sort of antagonism between these factions. So I'm actually not going to use these terms anymore because I do believe we can live in harmony. I'm going to try to, from now on, instead of saying casual, I'm going to say new player. And instead of saying elitist, I'm going to try and say veteran. I would say experienced player, but experience is a mechanic in the games, and it's going to get really confusing. I know veteran is also a skill in the game, but it's a lot less common than experience. So from now on, I'm going to try and call casuals new players, and I'm going to try and call elitists veteran players. A lot of the tension between new and veteran players revolves around units being called good and units being called bad. So what do we mean by good and bad units? We're gonna go pretty in-depth into this later, but initially, I just wanna get these broad definitions out of the way. I would say that a good unit is one that solves problems, and a bad unit is one that creates problems. And I went through the extra effort of putting solve in greens, you know that solving problems is good, and I put create in reds, you know that creating problems is bad. Actually, maybe I should have made solve blue, right? No. I want to get this out of the way here, because this is maybe the biggest sticking point and a criticism that I hear all the time, leveraged against myself and other so-called veteran players. Bad does not mean unusable. Take your time. Rebecca's speed stat's actually pretty good, so that probably should have been faster. Rebecca is a unit that I think objectively is quite bad. I really don't think you can argue that she's better than Marcus. You really can't argue that she's better than any of your other units. She is one of the worst units in Fire Emblem 7. However, you will notice here that there's a lot of room to the right of Rebecca, right? Why is that? Well, that's because even though Rebecca is worse than all of your other units, she is better than someone. That someone being basically every enemy in the game. With some exceptions, like, I don't know, like FE12 Bantu. Truly catastrophic units. Almost every player unit is stronger than enemies, or can eventually, with enough favoritism and babying, become stronger than enemies. The main issue is that being stronger than one enemy isn't really that useful when Fire Emblem is almost universally a game where you are outnumbered 10 to 1. Being able to eventually, with support, defeat one enemy is not really that useful. But even the worst units are not truly unusable, they're just suboptimal. We're gonna jump now to the fun factor quarterly report, because I do believe that this is the source of a lot of the tension in the new versus veteran debates. I ran a mystery poll coinciding with the release of my Fire Emblem 8 tier list with these 4 options. And the question was just, which of these 4 units is your favorite? I didn't provide any context on what favorite meant. I didn't mean in terms of gameplay or in terms of character or in terms of feel in your playthrough, just which of these is your favorite. With just under 1,500 votes, Ford the Focused came in last place despite having a car. He lost the race with 14% of the vote. In second place was Natasha the Nanny, just barely edging out Ford with 15%. Then was Amelia the Awful. You might say that some of these descriptions were a bit leading, right? I'm literally calling Amelia bad here. But the winner in a landslide was Garrick the Gallant. And I chose these 4 units in particular because each of them fits into a different quadrant of the fun factor quarterly report that I'm about to give you here. I don't actually think this is what quarterly report means. I'm pretty sure quarterly report is like fiscal year quarters, right? But this chart has 4 quarters, so good enough for this fake internet presentation. Here on the x-axis, we have boring to fun. It's pretty hard to quantify what makes a unit fun or not. There's a lot of factors that can go into this. A lot of them are subjective. Maybe a character looks cool. Maybe a character looks unique. Maybe their gameplay is really fun. It's very, very subjective, but I did my best to try and place units based on sort of the community perception of boring versus fun. The y-axis, weak versus strong, is a lot more objective to measure. A unit's strength is almost entirely determined by their stats, their availability, and their traits as a unit, typically meaning like their mobility or any special skills. And there's no Z-axis on the graph because they never released Pokemon Z. Don't pay too much attention to units' positions within the quadrants. It's mostly what quadrant they're in. We're going to be going clockwise from the upper left here. So these would be units that I think are boring, but also strong. You will never guess who I think is the representative for boring but strong units. You'll probably guess. Kyle and Kent Pharmaceuticals, Christmas Dreams. The Christmas Calves. The war on Christmas Calves is endless. Christmas Cavaliers are almost always extremely strong. However, they're very boring. I dare you to tell me one of Kyle or Kent's lines in the game. They're basically just noble knights, I guess. Even though the Cavs coming in pairs, gameplay-wise, is good, because you have 2 strong mobile units that can support each other, it's actually also kind of bad, because you have 2 units that can do essentially the same thing, so they have no chance of feeling unique or useful. Somewhat controversially, I also think that Pegasus Knights fall into the strong but boring category, especially because a lot of their utility doesn't become apparent until you try to do sort of a higher level, whether that means higher difficulty or a challenge run type of playthrough. Usually with these early game Pegasus Knights, their power comes from being able to do sort of cheesy stuff, right? Putting your Jagan really far ahead across a river or over some mountains. If you actually try to use a Pegasus Knight in the context of just a death ball of units, which is probably the most common new player way to play, what you get is a chick that does 2 damage twice, and in between those 2 attacks, she has to dodge like an axe hit that's gonna chop her in half. Doesn't seem very fun. And of course, you can't have a boring and strong rep without the hero of veteran players, Jagans. I think almost every Jagan in the series is actually pretty boring and unfun to use. On the one hand, it is pretty fun to blow people up with the Silver Lance. But on the other hand, there's a reason why people joke nowadays about Jagan stealing all of the XP. Back in the GameFAQs era, it wasn't a joke, right? It was what people felt, because that is how it feels to use a Jagan.
So I can take what you would not give and transfer your unwanted
Experience points.
to my body.
Surely you wouldn't deny an old man a replenishing drink. No, I thought not.
My XP! Give it back! Eventually, once you get more experienced with the game, you sort of realize that it's not a big deal. Surgical use of a Jagan can actually increase the amount of XP you get, especially in Fire Emblem 9 with the bonus XP mechanic, which is why I would probably say that Titania is the most fun Jagan to use. I think a lot of the reticence from new players against using these boring but strong units, who you'll notice are all mounted, is that there's a very natural and logical assumption that these units are worse than your infantry in some way. Surely they have worse stats, right? Or worse growths? The game doesn't even show you growths. These highly mobile, completely combat-capable units, there's gotta be a catch, right? There's no way they're this good. Well, good news. They are this good. The balancing is just horrible. Especially in the GBA games, mounts are just better. They have almost equivalent stats, sometimes their stats are actually better, and they have more weapon types, and they're more mobile. It's just really unfair. You might say that a weakness of these units is that they are vulnerable to horse-slaying weaponry or bows. But my honest answer to that is just go around them. I know that sounds like a cop-out, but remember, all of these units are extremely mobile. So if you run into one of the extremely rare horse-slaying weapons, just go around them. Just don't fight that unit. Or because you're mobile, you can initiate against them with a strong weapon, like a silver weapon or a brave weapon, and just kill them before they can even attack you with their special weapon. Archers are especially easy to avoid for Pegasus Knights, because Pegasus Knights are just so unrestricted in their movement. Just go around them. Can this guy actually get off and shoot us with the steel bow? I think he can, but we can just block him in, right? Like, we can just do this. Can you see why flyers aren't really worried about being countered by archers? What are they gonna do? Archers suck. Considering effective weaponry against mounted or flying units as a downside is kind of like considering quadruple grass weakness as a downside for Swampert. Yeah, I guess technically Swampert is quadruple weak to grass, but 1, grass sucks, and 2, just don't fight grass types with Swampert. Just switch out, bro. Don't fight horse-slaying weapons with your cavaliers. Just use a different unit. Point that was just brought up in the chat, terrain is more of a weakness? I wouldn't even say that. Cavaliers do take heavier terrain penalties in terms of the amount of tiles it costs them to move through rough terrain like forests. But they also have more movement to begin with, so unless you're moving through multiple forests on a turn, you really don't end up behind on movement compared to infantry. It is sort of a weakness for flyers, because one of their only real weaknesses is that while they ignore terrain, that is a double-edged sword, even though they normally equip lances, because they also cannot benefit from terrain bonuses, but usually that's not that big of a deal. It's just something you have to be cognizant of, because it is a downside. You can't camp a flyer on a fort and hold the line. That's probably a bad idea. Advancing into the next quarter, we have strong and fun units. So these are units that I don't think anybody needs to be told to use. They will naturally use these units because they're presented in a way that makes them seem intriguing, and they're powerful in gameplay, so why would you ever stop using them? First rep. It's Kanas, although he looks a little bit different here. What happened to Darkass? Kanas is a great example of a unit getting use, mostly because of extreme aura. Is that what the kids say? He has a very unique appearance, right? Who else has a monocle? There's like some other nerd mage has a monocle, like his name starts with L. It's not Loot or Lewin, I don't think. He's the only dark mage in the game, so immediately you're like, oh wow, what's the deal with this guy? I gotta see what he's capable of. All of the dark magic animations are really weird and otherworldly. And importantly, almost every weapon in the game, whether it's a sword or an axe or a spear or a bow or a light magic tome or an anima tome, they all sort of do the same thing, which is just damage. Dark magic is the only magic that actually has additional effects. Flux does damage, but then you have special effects like Nosferatu. Get your emojis ready. Why do people covet the dark? For this power. Come here, enemies.
It's sucking me dry.
Sucked. I can see how Nurgle got sucked into these arcane studies. And of course, dark magic has access to the extremely busted Fire Emblem 7 Lunatome, which allows you to blow up the final boss in almost one hit. Even though Kanas himself can't actually blow up the fire dragon in one hit because he doesn't have enough magic, only Athos can. It's a key part of the original FE7. Nobody would ever change that, right? Alright. How to Kill Your Dragon, final scene, actors Athos and the Fire Dragon, take 12, action. You think you can stand up to Athos the Ancient? Cut! Okay, well, he should definitely die to a Luna crit, come on. Okay, accident on set. So they specifically uncapped the 120 HP limit just to screw you over if you try to Luna crit him with Athos and fill his might. Next in the Strong and Fun squad, I knew this guy would win the poll. It's the Ogma archetype. The Ogma archetype, also known as the Good Mercenary, not only is strong in gameplay, but they also are usually set up by the narrative to be really cool. Usually, your army is kind of in a pinch, kind of outnumbered, and there's some squad of enemies that is encroaching. But don't worry, because a dude shows up with a ton of stats and not a ton of clothing and starts destroying everyone with a giant sword. How could you not love these guys? The Ogma archetype is so popular that the most popular Lord, Ike, is just an Ogma. Radiant Dawn Ike is basically an Ogma, except instead of joining with two Axe Bros, he joins with the entire Grail Mercs. You spend the first third of the game with these total noobs in the Dawn Brigade, just begging for some real units. You go through the Crimea arc with Princess Alencia and her scrub squad as well. And then finally, you get to part 3, and you get real soldiers. Thank you. IQ saved me. Let's enjoy the rest of the game. Speaking of enjoying the rest of Radiant Dawn, how are you gonna beat the rest of the game? With your Draco Knight, in pretty strong contrast to Pegasus Knights, where I guess they can maybe fight if you jump through a bunch of hoops. Well, here's Draco Knights. It's really obvious how you use them. You just put them in the middle of the enemy army. They have the same movement as Pegasus Knights, by the way, so no problem doing that. And they just kill everyone. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Draco Knights. And you usually only get them in the mid-game, so I don't think they feel that overpowered, and they usually actually start at sort of a mediocre level. So you get them, they're pretty good at base, and they very quickly get a bunch of good level ups and just take over the rest of the game. Helps that they often also just look really cool, right? Look at this guy, they gave him jet black armor, he has an eye patch, and oh yeah, he's on a dragon. Awesome! Moving down into the weak, but fun characters. First up is... Nino, representing the Est archetype. She does her best. People really like Ests.
2のなのに新春スペシャルくそーもうこれトラブルです完全に Do my best!
And that's why, because they get really good levels, and they get a ton of them really fast, because Ests are very underleveled units that join very late in the game, so they gain a lot of XP if you baby them, and usually they don't really end up better than your other units, so from an efficiency gameplay standpoint, there's really no reason to use them. Almost every Est is bad. I would say Ests are, on average, actually worse than the other unit type that I'm gonna put here. Trainees slash villagers. Trainees and villagers tend to join kind of early with really bad stats, but the promise of high potential. In the case specifically of the trainees in Fire Emblem 8, they don't actually have that potential because their growths are actually bad. But with the villager units, I guess Donald, but actually Mozu, they really do have that high potential. But I would still probably put them on the weaker end of the spectrum. But there's no denying that getting a zillion level ups is very fun. And finally, we have the Pits of Hell, units that are both boring and weak, so there's basically no reason to use them. Luckily, I think this is also the rarest group of units. Usually if a unit is weak, that sort of pushes them towards fun, because there's meme value in using them, but there are some truly tragic cases where I think there was really no reason to use the unit. Now, my intention for the FE8 rep for boring and weak was to be Natasha, but she actually ended up beating Fort, and I sort of should have expected that because, of course, Natasha is a girl. So that immediately makes people use her because the waifu wars are endless. Even though gameplay-wise, Natasha is very poor, she is worse than Mulder in basically every way. She joins later with worse stats for some reason. And staff utility also doesn't stack well. There's only so much healing to be done. Mulder can take care of all of your healing needs and more in the early game, and later in the game, when Mulder wants to be using stronger utility staves, you're gonna have promoted sages or other magic users that can do the healing, and they'll also probably be on the front line where the healing is happening because they're combat units. Also doesn't help Natasha that she literally loses in meme factor to Mulder the Boulder. But yeah, Natasha's a girl, so people like her. It sort of helps her fun factor that she's in a pre-Awakening game. Since Awakening, when the waifu wars truly became the focus of the franchise, male and female units actually become a lot more balanced in terms of number, because you have to marry everyone. But in the earlier games, I think your armies tend to skew male, which means that female units get a lot of fun factor because they tend to be a lot more unique and stand out. Given that Natasha couldn't quite be our rep for boring and weak, who did I end up choosing? I chose, in my opinion, one of the saddest units in the franchise. Oh! Grab the cologne, it's Eliwood. This guy just has nothing going for him. In terms of personality, he's really boring. I mean, he's just a noble. Oh, I've got to save the world! Yeah, good luck with that. With those bases, oh my god. Terrible bases, sword lock in an enemy phase heavy game, and the kiss of death for Eliwood. Pinch your nose while you kiss him. It's that his promotion is into Bad Cavalier. So your reward for putting up with this rank odor, Fire Emblem 7 rank run, is a worse version of some of the most boring units in the game. Quarantine this stench on the bench. F's for Eliwood. So now that we've defined the 4 quadrants that most units can fall into, we can sort of ignore the boring and weak quadrant because nobody uses these units anyway. Oh no. And we can also ignore the strong and fun quadrant because everybody uses these units without any sort of discussion, right? There's no argument about whether or not to use these. Obviously use them, they're good. And they're fun. Almost all of the new versus veteran tension revolves around veteran players telling new players to use these boring but strong units. It's like telling them to eat their vegetables, right? Oh, come on, you gotta use this guy, he's good for your army. No, I don't want to. He's got bad unit taste. Or the arguments revolve around new players insisting that these weak but fun units, like the S or the trainees, are actually viable and strong in gameplay because on the final chapter they're actually doing okay, disregarding the nightmare that it was to actually get them there. Caveat here that usually training S and trainees isn't actually difficult, it's just really tedious and not really worth the payoff. You could put equal or less investment into other units for better results in terms of numbers. But as we'll talk about later, of course, numbers aren't everything, right? Returning to, what do we mean by good and bad units? I want to further delve into what I mean when I said good units solve problems and bad units create problems. Utilizing our rep Marcus here, what problems does Marcus solve? Galloping in an 8 move. He secures time-sensitive objectives. If there's a village that's in danger off in the fog of war where you don't know what terrors await, well, just send Marcus. He can get you the gold from that village, no problem. I think the objective that stands out the most to me is on the map Whereabouts Unknown, the one where you recruit Raven the Edgelord. Basically, the only way you will reach the chest at the north in time before they get plundered by the thief is you basically have to do a cavalry charge straight down the center with Marcus and the other cavs. There's no other way to do it. You have to use him to do it. He's the only one who can. Deletes or weakens any problematic enemies. If there's a problem enemy unit that you face anywhere in the earlier mid-game, you have an 8-move solution right there. It's Marcus. Any enemy you need gone, Marcus has got your back. Assuming you're not doing an Iron Man challenge and you're not on Nintendo PC where you can save state, a unit death is probably gonna set you back 20 or 30 real-life minutes. You can either take the reset, or you can solve the problem before it becomes a problem with Marcus. Lowen has very bad attacking power, so Lowen probably wants to be attacking that guy. But unfortunately, Matthew is in the way. This is a very annoying situation. So here's what we're gonna do. I want to get this guy out of the way. This guy's in a forest, so he's actually very evasive. Question for the class. We now have a problem unit. Who is our problem solver? Use Marcus, that's right. So this is not stealing XP. This is saving us a big hassle. Goodbye. We kill him twice. This is exactly what he's here for. Well, that's why we double him. That's why I had to use the Silver Lance. If we had used our weaker weapons, even though a double would have killed. So I use the Silver Lance. Hoarding is a pitfall. And now this tile is open. Marcus is, of course, extremely durable, which means that he shields fragile units. If you've got units that you need to protect, you can just put Marcus in front of them. He doesn't need to be protected, he's the one who does the protecting. As a cavalry unit, he can also share his mobility with other units through the rescue command. So not only is Marcus himself extremely mobile and able to get to difficult locations, he can bring other units to those locations. So he solves other units' immobility issues. And of course, because Marcus is a pre-promoted Jagan unit, he doesn't need XP at all. You could consider that he's stealing the XP when he takes a kill, but you could also see it as him not needing to take kills in order to be a relevant combat unit. And because he's promoted, he also doesn't need the Knight's Crest promotion item, which tends to be a very hotly contested item because Cavaliers are so useful. I guess your Knights also need Knight's Crests. LOL! What problems does Marcus create? Well, there is one that he could potentially create, and that is, if he steals all the XP, then your growth units fall behind. Now, this isn't really a problem because Marcus can actually just solo the game, and you also get so many busted pre-promotes in Fire Emblem 7 that you don't need growth units at all, so this isn't really a downside. But if you want to use your growth units, which I totally understand, the growth units are very fun, then you probably don't want to abuse Marcus. You could consider that a downside. Now that we've gone over the problems solved by Marcus the Magnificent, what problems does Rebecca the Rancid solve? Well, she can operate Ballistae to weaken enemies from a distance. I'm being pretty generous with this because enemies are so weak you don't really need to chip them with the Ballistae, but only foot archers can use them. So if you don't have Rebecca or Will, they're kind of just dead doodads on the map. Notice I didn't say kill enemies because unfortunately FE7 only has double effectiveness, so I actually don't even think that she's a counter to flying units. Usually an axe unit or just a strong combat unit will do about as well or better against flyers. Raven is almost certainly finishing this dude off. We only have one ballista shot, right? Yeah, we do. We would do 8 more damage on vanilla, right? If we had 3x. So if we had 3x, this guy would die.
星のカービィトリプルデラックス Nintendo GameCube マリオカートダブルダッシュ
Double dashed. It's actually kind of a big deal. One legit benefit she does have is that she does have the best affinity in the game, the fire affinity. So if specifically you want to use a unit like, for example, Dart, one of her support partners, you might actually need to use Rebecca to buff up Dart because they give each other a double fire affinity bonus, which is really, really powerful. And that's something that Marcus cannot do because I think Marcus can't support Dart, and also Marcus's ice affinity is kind of whatever. If you want to go to Darts Up, a chain here in Japan, you actually might need to use Rebecca for that, if that's how you want to play the game. What problems does Rebecca the Rancid create? Well, there's a couple. She cannot be exposed on enemy phase. Now, this only appears as one bullet point, but this is actually a really, really big deal. She is a huge liability on enemy phase in a game where most of the fighting happens on enemy phase. Maybe she takes a shot at an enemy, but she doesn't kill them because her stats are kind of bad, and now you've got a problem. Because you can't let that enemy attack her. If she's taken an attack before, she's gonna die. So you need to either then eliminate that unit with someone else, or you've got to put a more durable unit like Marcus in front of her, or maybe even rescue her out of that dangerous position with Marcus or another Cavalier. It creates an additional problem you need to solve when there wasn't one there previously. And even if you let her be exposed to the attack, because she doesn't counter them, that's an enemy that doesn't take additional chip damage, or even an enemy that didn't die, right? Because Marcus probably would have just javelined them to death. And now you have an additional enemy that you need to deal with on your next player phase, whereas a 1-2 range Juggernaut would have solved that problem for you if Rebecca wasn't there.
Come on, Rebecca. Let me take 9.
Rebecca the Roasted. Healing Rebecca usually isn't that important because Rebecca's not really in any danger, right? She doesn't take counterattacks. It would be much... I think it's actually more useful to heal Hector. What about the Nomad? Oof. Wow, look at that attack range. 13 attack. Oh. I think she's dead. I actually don't think there's anything else we can do. I think she's dead. Why are they making us... They're making us spend all this time just for this to happen, right? 80 hit, it's over. Forgive me, brother.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
The Iron Price. Rebecca, frequent user of Reset Era. Unfortunate. Yeah, we're just Nintendo PC in that. She's just an infantry unit, so she herself is immobile. And in a way, being an infantry unit is anti-utility, right? She is not able to patch the mobility of other units. She is the one who needs to be patched. If you're rescue dropping Rebecca, then you are not rescue dropping a unit that could make much better use of the Pony Express, like Raven. And because she is a growth unit, she requires XP. You have to feed her kills, and if you're feeding her kills, you are not able to give those kills to another unit that could also make better use of them, like one of the Cavaliers. The promo item thing doesn't really matter for her because she doesn't really compete for them because archers are so bad in general. By putting promo item here, I really mean that it costs 5,000 gold to promote her because you could have sold the Orion's Bolt instead. Now, by framing good and bad units as solving problems or creating problems, I've implied that you only ever want to solve problems, right? But sometimes, you actually want more problems. Fire Emblem 7 is a very, very easy game. Often every single map is solved for you from the very beginning. Use Marcus and the Cavaliers, you win. But that's kind of boring, isn't it? Sometimes you actually want to create some tension. You want problems. And in that case, that's a niche for bad units. They function as a way to modulate difficulty and inject extra tension into maps that otherwise would be just total snooze fest stomps. If you were to watch my playthroughs of Fire Emblem games, you might get the impression that I think Dorcas and the Trainees and Nino are the best units in the game. Because I use them all the time, and by the end of the game, Bartray the Brutal and Nino the Nuclear are destroying everything. But the way I play these games is I typically have a skeleton of good units, like Marcus and Flyers, that are able to accomplish sort of the core objectives of the map. And since I don't have to worry about dealing with those issues already solved by my good units, I can dedicate the rest of my brain power, however limited that is, to memeing it to the max with the bad but fun units. That's my preferred way to play as a veteran player. I'm somebody who usually plays on the hardest difficulty, but not necessarily with any other restrictions. I usually don't try to go fast in terms of time or turn count. I usually use the units that I consider to be fun, and I think that it's actually more fun to use them when you don't have to worry about getting these bad units to secure difficult objectives that are better left to truly viable units. Ultimate point of this discussion: why even evaluate units through a critical lens? What is the point of looking at units this way, in terms of their stats and their performance, instead of through more subjective characteristics like, you know, their vibes or their aura? Yeah, actually, I thought Lucario was a Pokemon. The good, and I have a question mark on this because I'm not quite sure it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing, but you might not. This is very subjective. Being able to evaluate units critically opens the gates.
The gates are open
to harder entries in the franchise, including ROM hacks. Fire Emblem 7 and Fire Emblem 8 and Fire Emblem 9, they're all very easy. You can kind of just do whatever you want and probably win. But on some of the more difficult Fire Emblem games, like Fire Emblem Conquest, Fire Emblem 10 Radiant Dawn, and especially most fan games ROM hacks, when it comes to fundamental mechanics, you're supposed to firmly grasp it in your hand. Firmly grasp it. And stumbling every turn on movement, rescue drops, or doubling thresholds, they're gonna make your experience a lot more difficult, and in some cases actually impossible. And of course, if you want to play the higher difficulties of the vanilla games, or do any sort of challenge run, it really helps you to have a firm and explicit, YouTube don't ban me, understanding of what makes units perform well or poorly within an army. But this really only applies to you if you're somebody who finds enjoyment in solving the tougher puzzles that the game has to throw at you. Critically evaluating units also allows you to participate in metagame discussions. Metagame discussions themselves can be really fun and fulfilling. Chances are, if you made it this far in the video, you yourself really enjoy metagame discussions. One of the main things I do on YouTube is I make in-game tier lists for Pokemon games, which is kind of silly because from a practical standpoint, they're completely useless. Do you really need some guy on the internet to tell you which Pokemon are the best to use in your playthrough? No. You can use whoever you want and get great results. Pokemon is piss easy. Even the most difficult vanilla Pokemon game, probably either Black and White 2 or Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, even those games are easier than the easiest Fire Emblems. And when you get into the baseline harder Fire Emblems, it is not close at all. You can actually lose in Fire Emblem. You can't lose in Pokemon. So the only point of these Pokemon in-game tier lists is to have fun discussing what exactly makes Nidoking better than Beedrill. Even though you can beat the game with both pretty easily. We know that it's human nature to love debating / arguing with our fellow man. Back in the day, they did this in marble palaces in the Grand Amphitheater. That's where we get the word forum from, right? But the forum has evolved to just be text on the internet. And that's where the great minds of today duke it out by calling Ike Poonage Incarnate. I would say at this point in Fire Emblem's history, if you are unable to argue for units based on objective factors, like their stats and their traits like mobility, then I guess it's a bit harsh to say, but you'll basically be laughed out of any unit discussion. The gates will be closed. If you walk into a forum and say that Amelia is good in general, it's basically over for you. Is it fair that veteran players will shut out your opinion simply because it is not the largely accepted one? I've heard pushback against this based on this idea. What if the meta is wrong? After all, the game fact discussions of yore are mocked for a reason nowadays, right? They're so obviously wrong. Of course Rebecca is bad and Marcus is good. How could people ever have thought otherwise? Well, I don't think it's because people back in the day were dumb. It's because people back in the day were new. And a lot of the observations that people made back then are actually the exact same observations that new players make today, because they're the intuitive ones. They seem correct, and they are correct until you dig a little deeper. When new players complete the game on normal difficulty and destroyed the game with Rebecca, and then share their experience saying that Rebecca the Rapid is the way to go, their conclusion is completely reasonable based on their experience. It's something that happens in other fandoms as well. I get comments all the time on my Pokemon videos. Say a comment from Critney Spears saying that, Cheese, you're a poo-poo head because you slandered Beedrill. Well, I soloed the entire game with Beedrill. How could you say that it doesn't work? Well, Critney Spears is not lying from their perspective. But usually, these meta discussions do not take place on an individual level. They sort of have to be extrapolated out to a community-wide sense that involves talking about units in terms of their average stats and not in terms of your own experience. And it's very hard to divorce your opinion of a unit from your own experience using that unit. And as we'll get into here, not only is it hard to divorce your opinion of a unit from your experience with a unit, it might not even be a good thing for your enjoyment of the game. Something you hear a lot in modern times regarding meta shifts is, what's to stop another meta shift like the one we saw from the original GameFAQs era? Back in GameFAQs, Marcus was bad and Rebecca was good. Nowadays, it's the opposite. Who's to say that there won't be another reversal? I don't think it's gonna happen regarding the older games, because at this point, the game has basically been solved. In the newer games, by newer I mean Awakening, which came out very recently, 15 years ago. Unit viability does tend to flip-flop more, but I think that more has to do with the fact that these are super sandbox games, where unit traits are a lot more malleable, and there's a lot more flexibility in how you juice up your units with all of the resources that are available. And that's how you get the much more volatile meta these days. Somebody asked earlier why I tend to focus more on unit evaluations in the older games, and that's because I feel like in the older games, units have a lot more character because you have less flexibility in how you use them. I sort of enjoy that sort of discussion more, rather than the more modern form of discussion, where it's sort of like each character is like a D&D template, right? And there's a lot more emphasis on how exactly to build each individual character. It gets a lot more complex in a way that I personally don't enjoy, despite me being in the veteran camp. I'll also say here that I'm not a huge fan of the way favoritism is treated in the modern discussions. In Engage, a lot of unit strength is actually in the rings and not the unit themselves. And that's how you get flame wars about basically every unit, where it's like, well, they're good if you give them Lin. Okay. And while there are more resources, those resources are still limited. There's still only one Lin ring. So if you have a unit that requires the Lin ring to be good, they are robbing other units of the Lin ring and making them worse. Is that worth it? And I think that point of limited resources is often downplayed to an extent that I don't think is fair. I don't think I'll ever be making a 3 houses tier list, by the way. It's just too much. Who should you use in 3 houses? Whoever you want. Maybe not Ash. Retired from Pokemon and from Fire Emblem discourse. Potential downsides to evaluating units critically. Well, it's completely unnecessary for casual play in a single player game. A common meme in MMO communities when people get criticized or told how to play is, "You don't pay my sub." And the same definitely applies to this single player strategy game, especially if you only ever intend to play on normal difficulty. Who cares about unit viability? It's just a bunch of internet screeching that honestly doesn't even apply. If you're on one of the lower difficulties, unit viability doesn't matter at all. Just use whoever you want. You will get good results with anyone, and you'll probably end up having a more unique, more personalized to you fun experience than if you had just followed meta strategies and just beaten the game in the best way with all of the best units. For normal difficulty casual playthroughs, which are probably the vast majority of Fire Emblem players, most players don't do the harder difficulties, most players don't do challenge runs. Just use whoever you want. And ignore all of this discussion about who's good and who's bad. In my opinion, the biggest downside to treating critical unit evaluation as an inherently worthwhile thing you should engage in if you want to be a good player is this. Ignorance is blissy. Now, I know that ignorance has a bunch of negative connotations, but I don't mean it that way in this context. Once you know about unit stats, once you look at Rebecca, not as cute green-haired archer girl with a bandana, once you look at her as bad stats and bad mobility, you can never go back. And one of the best parts about Fire Emblem is that each unit is their own character. If you don't look at the numbers, you can fully enjoy the experience of tearing it up with Rebecca the Rapid. You don't have that niggling voice in the back of your head saying, "Oh, but it's not optimal. I could be using other units that could do the exact same thing but better." Once you start looking at units as just their objective numerical traits, that begins the descent into looking at every single unit as just stat soup. And while that is a prerequisite to higher level play, undeniably, it kills a lot of the potential fun you could be having. I'm gonna be honest here. I enjoyed Pokemon more when I didn't know about base stats, when I didn't know about individual values, when I didn't know about EVs. When I didn't know any of this, and I just clicked Flamethrower with Charizard and I won the game and I thought he was the best. That is when I had the most fun with Pokemon. Nowadays, I always have to consider, I gotta kill these Rattatas because Rattatas give speed EVs. I gotta wonder, like, oh, are my IVs good or bad? Because if not, then I'm not optimal. I could be doing a bit more damage here. And there is a significant part of me that really wishes I could just go back and not care about this stuff. But for high-level play, both in Fire Emblem and Pokemon, you have to know this stuff. Otherwise, nobody will take your opinion seriously. In the Emerald Legacy tier list, the Trico that I used was absolute ass. You're able to check your IVs in that game, and our Trico was below average in literally everything. Not a single IV that was even 15. It was an unmitigated disaster. But because I know about the IV system, I know not to attribute our Trico's horrendous performance to the Trico species as a whole. I know that it was our custom Trico that could not rise to the occasion, but that didn't stop the most soul-crushing missed KOs from really stinging. We are literally against Team Aqua admins, okay? It's time for Krauser to shine.
Don't get paralyzed, please. Surely we can win a KO Wailord, right? Don't paralyze me, bro.
Surely this is a one-hit kill? Come on, Krauser. Bro. Miracle Seed, we're one level higher. It is our best move. It is our stab. Are you kidding me?
So we can kill Electrode, right? Because we did get the crit boost.
We gotta hope we don't get staticked. Ooh. Is he gonna mirror code us? He is, because he's moving second.
So that's your true power? Oh, I'd ask for a refund. Witness the power! You've lost it completely, Krauser.
You've lost it completely, Krauser. So bad. Now, of course, I still think Trico is bad, and I ended up giving it a poor rating. But importantly, that poor rating was not based on my experience with Trico. When I rate Pokemon, when I rate units, I do not rate them based on my experience with the Pokemon or the unit. I rate them based on my experience with the game and how the traits of those Pokemon or those units perform within the context of the game, not within my experience with those units or Pokemon in particular. For me, a literal professional elitist, to use the word elitist again, that's how I have to look at these units. But speaking candidly, it's not a very fun way to evaluate these units. I would much rather latch on to personal stories. And if you're a new player just playing this game on your own, why wouldn't you latch onto your own personal story? That's where the most fun comes from, your own personalized experience. And to try and share that experience with others and be met with scathing comments telling you you're a noob. It's horrible. Who would want to engage with that? I think a lot of the hostility towards veteran players making recommendations comes from the fact that these recommendations, whether the veterans realize it or not, are taking a needle, a pin missile, to that bubble that new players are in. That wonderful bubble of ignorance where they're able to use their favorites without worrying about viability. By telling them, use Marcus, use the Cavaliers, don't use Rebecca, you are attempting to force them into metagame discussions that they maybe have no interest in participating in. For sure, veterans have a bad reputation in the community. They're in their ivory tower. Yeah, you get a lot of evade bonus from the ivory tower terrain, but that also includes evading discussion with people because nobody wants to talk to you. Let's be real, the average person posting unit reviews on a Fire Emblem board, let's just say that they build supports rather slowly. Got a bit of Sarah syndrome? Because nobody wants to talk to you. Elitists are often accused of gatekeeping. Probably won't shock you to hear that I personally think that gatekeeping, to an extent, is not only good, but essential for preserving the essence of a franchise. It's a difficult balance because you do need new blood in order for the company to actually make money, and companies only care about making as much money as possible. And sometimes the best way to do that is to make a good game, but increasingly in modern times, making the most money means opening the gates, specifically the floodgates separating real gaming from mobile filth. Once a franchise has a mobile game, it's over. We have seen it over and over again. Pokemon Go casualized and killed Pokemon even further than it already was casual. Fire Emblem Heroes casualized and is currently killing Fire Emblem. Why do you think the skill descriptions in Fire Emblem Engage are so weird and unintuitive? It's because they're like mobile game skill descriptions. Monster Hunter Now, or whatever it's called, has just begun to infect and kill Monster Hunter. What's one of the main complaints with Monster Hunter Wilds? It's way too easy and casual. Once they create Dark Souls Prepare to Swipe or whatever, then gaming will have truly fallen. But for now, we can attempt to at least hold the gates closed. It's a bit too late for Fire Emblem. Let's savor what few Twilight years we have left. I don't like mobile slop, but in this case, we're talking about handheld games, true classics. We don't use the word mobile in this household. The gates must be held because once the casuals are the overwhelming majority, usually it happens through a mobile game influx. Once they're the primary demographic being catered to, it's over. Say goodbye to any semblance of depth in the husk of the hobby you once loved that is now being puppeteered from the inside for the sake of being accessible to everyone. I don't want games that are for everyone. I want games that are for me. And it really, really sucks to have a game that was once for you be corrupted and turned into the same homogenized, sanitized slop that you can download on the App Store. That is a stance I will never compromise on. You can call me an elitist for that. If I were to truly distill it down to the Darkstone levels of condensed evil, if I were to be so blunt as to equip a hammer and deal effective damage to armor knights, I would say that my true opinion of casuals versus elitists is, I don't care what casuals have to say, because they don't know what they're talking about. But that's a deeply unpleasant stance that hopefully I've explained through this previous presentation is also kind of unfair to how new players engage with the game. Even if that is what I truly think, we live in a society. It's probably a good idea to at least try and have a reasonable civil conversation. Final chapter of our presentation today. Uneasy Alliance. What conclusions can we draw? I believe that new players can potentially, big if, by the way, the Japanese title of Fire Emblem Fates is Fire Emblem If. New players can potentially, big if, improve their play experience by acknowledging unit weaknesses and compensating accordingly. I think that you can get more fun out of Rebecca if you also use Marcus. And you use Marcus to offset some of Rebecca's weaknesses so that you can shoot more people with Rebecca. That's my recommendation. But it's a careful balance between acknowledging the flaws of Rebecca and seeing her as just stat soup. For veteran players, I think veteran players should be cognizant and try not to infringe on the personal aspect of Fire Emblem, the personal connections that people forge with their own units in their playthroughs, with unsolicited stat soup recipes. If people ask for advice, sure, but usually just dumping your stat soup recipe suggestion on them, saying that your recipe is the way to go and they should abandon their current diet plans, not going to be making any new support partners that way. Have we managed to forge an uneasy alliance between new and veteran players? I'm not sure. It's pretty difficult to convince enemy factions to ally with each other in times of peace. One of the best ways is to introduce a common foe. So here's a common foe we can unite against. A branded to truly be reviled. And one of the few instances of dual typing actually being a downgrade. The rock steel typing of Fire Emblem discussion. The casual elitist. The casual elitist must be destroyed. The casual elitist is somebody who is a casual in the sense that they don't know what they're talking about, but they're an elitist in the sense that they still make prescriptive suggestions on units. Who the hell do you think you are? No! Casual elitists must be destroyed. New players and veterans alike, lend me your ears. I call upon you to take up arms against the casual elitists. Casual elitists, play the games before actually making suggestions, okay? You give us real elitists a bad name. Thanks for sticking with us thus far. To both new players and veterans alike, I have a special invitation for you. You're invited. Welcome to die! Whether you're a casual or an elitist, there's a special challenge just for you. Ta-da! Can you defeat the evil elitist? Download in the description. So we actually have a very special, completely custom bonus battle. Takes place in Fire Emblem 7, and it is meant to test your Game Boy Advanced Fire Emblem acumen. Can you defeat the elitist? This unfortunate casual player couldn't. I'm cooked. This is real, by the way. This is not a joke. This is a standalone final chapter challenge created by Shared, one of our lead interns. And anyone can jump in and try to clear it. I will say that compared to mainline Fire Emblem, it is very difficult. It is harder than any battle you are required to actually clear in the main games, at least outside of troll difficulties like Lunatic Plus. If you're unsure whether or not you can rise to the challenge, if you're still unsteady in your Fire Emblem fundamentals, I actually did an entire Fire Emblem 7 playthrough where the entire idea was to onboard new players who are unfamiliar with Fire Emblem. So I play in a way that to veteran players is extremely frustrating because I explain everything that I'm doing in, some would say, excruciating detail, but I prefer to think of it as being considerate of new players. How considerate? We are talking an hour and a half before making our first action because that is how in-depth I'm explaining the stats. If you understandably don't have 70 hours to watch a full playthrough where I explain everything, I also made a more compact Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem mechanics video. It's only 40 minutes long, and that will walk you through all of the fundamentals. Probably not enough to actually get you to a level where you can clear this brutal final map, but it'll get you a start. If you want to play this special challenge chapter yourself, you do have to patch a vanilla Fire Emblem 7 English ROM. I can give you the patch. I can't provide the ROM because... This is an unofficial fan project. And I've only been able to experience this by using the Nintendo Online server. I can't walk you through the patching process myself, but if you've never done it before, it's pretty easy. You'll manage. Now, the rest of the runtime of this video is going to be the story leading up to the final challenge battle, we have some wonderful, lovingly crafted cinematic cutscenes to explain how the Elitist became the antagonist. And I'll also be showing how I cleared the final battle, which I was able to do on my first try, but I am very experienced with Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem, and I also have literally hundreds of people helping me in the chat, so it actually is pretty difficult. If you would like to try the challenge battle with no spoilers, then I would say just do it now, and then come back and watch the rest of the video, okay? But if you want some minor hints on what to do, I would say you're going to need to be aware of how staves interact with dancers, right? You can both warp and rescue if you play your cards right. And I would also say that you need to be aware of how speed affects certain mechanics and the breakpoints for those mechanics. The assassin that you're given in the final battle also functions a little differently. They're a huge fan of the Kanto region, so they can actually Kanto after non-combat actions, just like a mounted unit. They also have an innate 30% crit, and this isn't a unique mechanic to the final battle, but keep in mind that you don't actually have to deal damage to proc lethality. There's multiple ways to solve the final battle. You could, of course, opt for maximum cheese with both the mind glitch and just fishing for lethality procs, but you don't actually have to do either. It is possible to clear it without making use of either of those mechanics. Can you best the Elitist? I believe you can. But remember, even if you dethrone the Elitist, the C's tile won't remain empty for long. There must always be an S tier. Who will fill the void? Will it be you? If you become the new Elitist, it's only a matter of time before the comments get you too!
Alright everyone, according to my research, this is where we should find him. Did you bring all the gear I prepared?
Yes, Doc. Yes, Dork.
Alright, let's get to work then. Let's see. Intern, get me my lockpick, please.
On it, boss. Got it. Catch.
Perfect, watch the magic happen. There you are, old friend.
Horrible. This guy's horrible.
Oh, it bears me great pain to see you in such a state. Pokemon prison truly is a fate worse than death. Breathe the free air. Let's go, cheese.
Let's go, Dorcas. Prepare yourself. Foul knave. Taste my steel! Yuck! Need salt! Dorcas, I'm gonna be firm and explicit. I don't think these recruits will last a single enemy phase on the battlefield.
Maybe log off Serene's forest and touch a real forest tile once in a while. There's no need for such elitist gatekeeping. Not every unit can be Marcus or Pent at base.
Well, surely they have exceptional growth rates given their horrific bases.
Fear not, I recruited only the finest interns in Eliwood.
I see. We might need 6-star tactics to win this one. Ouch! That smarts! Thank you! I read a lot! That's enough for today. Well done, 96% men and 4% women. Every scar is proof of another day survived.
Extra mutton rations for all tonight. Let's beef up those constitution stats.
Yay! Woohoo! He's right behind me, isn't he?
Don't mean to be a party pooper, but we've got trouble.
Mathieu, what news from the front?
Enemy units. Nearly 800. Roughly 30,000 west.
800?
No need to worry. I actually already dealt with about 776 or so.
What? How? Aren't you a sword-locked, foot-locked, non-combat thief?
Am I? Anyway, maybe these green recruits could cut their teeth on the remainder. Good luck, boys.
Come on, you interns. You wanna live forever? I wouldn't mind a few more years.
Move out.
Yes, sir. Pick a god and pray, pal. I'm the hero of this story. Oh! This other guy looks like one tough cookie! Fear not! I know the recipe for this one! Bake in 1 charge of hellfire! Cook on critical for extra crispiness while maintaining a gooey center! You know, I'm sorry I called you a nerd earlier. Working out at the library with you has made my sword arm steadier than ever. Those secret books sure were salacious. And I'm sorry I called you a mutton head. I can't believe how heavy these books used to feel. They're light as a feather now. And thanks to our bench to 6 move cardio workouts, I think I'll be hitting that plus move growth any level now. There's no one I'd rather stand side by side with than you, pal. I'd say the same. Except you're light years behind me. Last one back to base camp is a rotten nest. Hey, no fair. Oh, just wait till I lace up the only pair of boots on Elib!
The recruits have exceeded all expectations. I've never seen such blessed stats.
Indeed. Have they been putting Alpha's drops in the water or something?
Any theories on how the recruits could have possibly grown so powerful?
The only logical explanation is that they liked, subscribed, and evolved into Patreons using the link in the description.
Doesn't it sully this victory somewhat to have earned it through mercenary, pay-to-win mechanics?
This is war, Dorcas. I would rather empty coffers than full coffins.
How very pragmatic. I worry that your dark magic use may be taking its toll on you.
Your fears are well-founded. I am prepared to pay the price of power, whether it be in coin or in blood. For now, please, leave me be.
As you wish.
Recruits, you've made this old tactician proud. I know that when the time comes, you will have the strength to do what must be done.
If we do this and block this spot, then I think that means that Dorcas gets warped right next to the dragon.
This map is ass. Tactician, recruit a team of staff bots with aptitude.
Silk. Safi.
Kent.
Micaiah.
It's warping time! It's warping time!
And he's right there. And we get level 20 Nino. 2020 Nino! How can you be so lucky? Look at those green numbers. But she didn't cap luck in defense. What?
Hey, Dorcas! It's been a long road here. Hey man, I picked up this sick axe. Here you go, do it for Natalie. But, if you ever see that Carla chick again, hey, tell her I killed the dragon, alright? Go get him, champ.
Sorry, friend. It's nothing personnel.
Dorcas the Dragon Slayer! Yikes! That final boss battle was no joke! I'm glad we're alive, but are we sure that dragon was actually evil? The blue dragons on our side are kinda nice. Well, the one we killed was red! Red means meanie head! So true, friend. Sniff, sniff. Smells like some of your fur might have perished in battle.
Fascinating. It's a well-known idiom to equate foul stenches to wet dogs. But our battle here seems to have proven that hot dogs smell quite pleasant.
Hey, don't call me an idiom. I've got an S rank in tomes.
Rejoice, interns. The world is safe once more. And by an extraordinary stroke of luck, not a single good guy life was lost.
There was nothing lucky about it. This victory was paid for in the blood, sweat, and tears you shed in training. With brave heroes like you around, this world is in good hands.
I think I've had enough fighting for one lifetime.
You and me both, Dorcas. It is with great pride that I can at last say, mission accomplished! It's time to set a course for home. Let's go! Intern! Wait, the portal reopened? Oh, didn't we stop the bad guys? I thought we won!
I've got a bad feeling about this. The portal is unstable, the energy emanating from it is. It's not from my home, it's entirely alien.
I never surrendered. All these years, I always hoped against hope. Oh, is he still talking to us? Glad you're doing well. I've been great, never better. Some accusations of insanity, but that's nothing new. And now I know I was right all along.
Cheese. Who are you talking to? Is this another localization error?
Come on, give me more credit than that. I know movement is the best stat. I'll be there faster than a warp skip.
Cheese, no. Stop. Trust no one.
I thought he'd never leave. This is the good ending, right?
Bad dog. You would abandon a friend to an unknown fate? Conquest, birthright, or revelations? There's a 2 in 3 chance he's doomed.
Whoa! No one deserves that!
This is a rescue mission, and the stakes have never been higher.
Wasn't Nurgle about to destroy the world? Seemed like a big deal a cutscene or 2 ago.
I'm afraid Lindis's Legion is a poor fit for this mission. Lightning legs are welcome, but the only doors Noodle Arms can open are the doorways to defeat. Likewise, Eliwood's elite are ill-suited to the task. I have heard great tales of your potential. Unfortunately, those stories appear to be fiction. And finally, Hector's Hurricanes. Just stay here. You're the best at that. There is only one army I trust. The illustrious Interns. The hour of reckoning is at hand. Let's go, Interns.
Wait for me! This is it. The final battle. Welcome to the secret true ending. Let's go, Interns! Lead Lab Intern Shared worked very, very hard to create a final challenge for us. So full disclosure, I have no idea what's about to happen. Obviously, I know what happens in the opening because I had to record all that stuff and like voice it and stuff, but I don't actually know the gameplay and I don't actually know the story. So we're actually going to be trying this together. Your knowledge of Fire Emblem 7 will not save you. The only thing we can rely on now, it's time for the true finale. And I guess all the voice acting from here is just live because I don't actually know what these lines are. Finale. It can't be. Can it really be you? No way! Who are you? Well, thank you to the mighty Patreons for waiting all these years past the gate. It's as if they never left. Me too. I've missed you too, Patreon. Patreon. What? What do they do with their mobile phones? Oh, this world truly is lost. Disgusting. Patreon. What did they say about dancers? The gates are closed. I'll show them what efficiency means. Patreon. Who's coming? Doesn't matter anymore. Patreon, give me your power. Let's show these casuals what a real strategist looks like. Patreon. We made it.
Looks like the portal was a one-way trip. Hurry, interns! We'll worry about finding a way home later. Let's find cheese. Let's find cheese.
Huff! Huff! Oh, yes, Dorcas!
There you are, Cheese. Cheese, what happened? You don't look like yourself.
What happened to Cheese? I had a revelation, Dorcas. Oh, he's doomed! The most important thing in this world is pure, unadulterated power.
Oh.
Movement!
I haven't lost it completely, because this is actually a true statement.
Oh no. You've lost it completely, Cheese. The tier lists have clearly gotten to your head. There is nothing you puny growth units can do against me. Why would I waste my time and resources allowing you to grow? While there are some perfectly good and ready soldiers right here.
Do I have pre-promoted allies?
Rise. Oh, the Dead Lords. Rise. My Dead Lords. Rise and serve your elitist masters. Do my bidding once more. Show them the future that awaits them.
Oh, this looks bad. Mrs. Turner, run back and look for an escape route. I'll hold them off.
Oh no, Dorcas! This is where we fight.
Is this where they die?
This is where we save him from his demons, and where we all escape out of here alive.
Oh, very optimistic. Okay, so independently, Shared chose to use this same heroic music, because he didn't know the music I was using.
Oh, we can do it! This guy's toast! Let's show him the might of us interns! Let's go, Dorcas!
Devil Axe voice acting.
Well, I'll do my best!
I thank you, interns. Let's do this.
Victory condition. Defeat Cheese.
Unfamiliar map, unfamiliar allies, unfamiliar enemies. What's the first thing we should do? I'll be following your directions here. Check stats. Perfect. Good idea. 60 HP Dorcas here. Oh, capped strength. 26 defense. Con 17. He's got the Devil Axe. Might injure its wielder. Has a killer bow, has a brave axe. He has a talisman. A man from a small village in Bern fights for his wife. He actually has 31 crit with the Devil Axe. It's pretty good. So does he have a crit bonus himself? No, he gets the crit bonus from his supports with the interns. Looks like we have a dancer from the YTC Institute. Only has 15 HP though. Apparently it's the Drinks Boy. The latest recruit from the YTC. Refreshed! Well, how could I turn that down, right? Refreshed. How are his stats? His stats are probably horrible, right? We only have 15 HP. Oh my god. He's got all the drinks, so we actually might want to distribute these drinks beforehand. It's actually very good because he's a dancer, right? So he can actually give them the drinks and then dance for them. We can share all of these drinks without actually losing actions. We have this intern. Oh, very heroic. Oh, the hero intern. He's level 15. He's got a Lance Reaver. He's got a Silver Blade. He's got a Killing Edge. A newborn hero from the YTC. YTC, by the way, stands for YouTube comments. An honorific bestowed upon famed mercenary masters. I'm not sure if they have growths, but we'll check. Oh my god! This guy's the hero! This guy's really, so he's got 26 speed, so keep in mind that he has 26 speed and 11 con. He does get weighed down by Silverblade, so Silverblade we lose attack speed. Killing Edge we don't, Lance Reaver we don't, so only the Silverblade changes our attack speed. Intern question mark? Ooh. Probably a contractor. Doesn't talk much. I don't know if we trust this guy. He's an assassin. He has a slim sword, okay. But he also has a brave sword, but the brave sword weighs 12. And he only has 6 con, so he loses 6 speed from the brave sword if he chooses to use it. I'm not sure how useful this guy's going to be. Or we can give the brave sword to the hero, or, because this guy attacks so often, that gives him a lot of chances to assassinate, even if he doesn't really do that much damage. We do have a mage intern, the sage. Oh, he can steal and has crit bonus and Kanto, okay. Thunder Fimble Vetra heal. Oh, we actually do have a heal on our sage here. A scholar and a novice student of ancient magics. Thunder Fimble Vetra and Elfire. 6 con. Oh, capped magic. Capped magic. A support with another intern. Oh, they all like support each other. So we probably want to keep these guys together. He's got S in Anima, but only a C in Staves. 6 con means that we don't get weighed down by Thunder at all, but we are weighed down. We lose 6 from Fimble Vetra. And we lose 4 from Elfire. Oh, and Mrs. Turner! Mrs. Turner here, wow, she has Warp, she has Rescue, she has Restore, and she has Recover, but she does not have Physic. So none of our units have Physic. A youth from the YTC, very helpful and bright. She's a Valkyrie. Wow, she's very dodgy, and she has 28 res. She has E in Anima, but I don't think we have any E Anima tomes. I think it's only Thunder. Thunder is D. So the Water Boy can use it, but he only has 5 magic. What staff rank does the Sage have? Good question. He has C. So that means that he can use Restore as well. He can use Restore and Recover, but he cannot use Rescue and he cannot use Warp. Is Cheese on the map? Oh, he's at the bottom. Oh. Let's check out these. Oh no, the Dead Lords. The Gladiator. He has a mind. Once a proud gladiator who was betrayed by his emperor. No, we even have the death scene.
I have fought bravely, and I have triumphed. Have I not earned my rest? No.
I trusted you!
Light, save my soul.
Sweet dreams. No rest even in death. He does have the spear, so he has 1-2 range. And he has the Devil Axe. And he has Nini's Grace. So that's a Dancer Ring. We can give that to our Water Boy, and that allows him to buff the defense. I think he just gives us 10 flat defense. Wow, 30 defense. So forget about attacking this guy with our physical units. You have to use magic against this guy. But he only has 16 speed. It's not quite Legault, it's Legaun. 20 strength, 30 speed. Very, very fast. A former Black Fang, once known as the Hurricane. He only has Sea Swords. Does have a Killing Edge and he does have a Lance Reaver. So we probably can't let this guy attack us. But I don't think we're that scared of him. Remember that with the Brave Sword, we can double attack him. Legon. Sleepy, the bishop, mysteriously died in a fire. Man, that is some crazy magical stats, though. So we definitely have to Brave Sword this guy. A in Light. Essence Staff, he's got Defiant. He has a Sleep. And he has a Fortify. But he also drops a Sleep if we beat him. We have to keep in mind that if we leave an enemy damaged, the bishop can just heal them with Fortify. So we should probably kill them in one turn. We do have a Restore, and our Sage can use Restore as well. We do have the rank to use Restore. Of course. Ilona is back, and she has Vol Flame. Might 30, oh my god. And she can heal as well. And she has the Phyllis Might. Don't ask about the Javelin. Only 20 speed though, she's kind of slow. So we might have to Brave Sword or assassinate her in some way. This is extremely scary. Oh, she also gets weighed down by Volflame, right? Weight 15. Yeah, she loses 10, so she only has 10 speed. We cannot let her attack us though, we definitely have to just Brave Sword her. And she has 35 res, so forget about magic. Who's this Wyvern Lord? Is it my mom? The Messenger. Ah, the Messenger. Luck 4. They have a lot of defense, but they have almost no res. They're not weak to any of our tomes. A recently expelled worker of Elite Delivery Express. Well, he did attack his delivery target. S swords. We can steal these. So we can keep him alive, we can steal his speed wings, and then we can give +6 speed to one of our units. So keep in mind if that lets us hit some sort of doubling threshold. I think our hero already has capped speed though. Yeah, so it doesn't help there. We could cap out the assassin speed with all 3 though. Could also give one to the Sage. I mean, this is hopeless. Dorcas could also use it. Small cheese. Abandoned RuneScape character Woodcutting 99. He needs a bigger axe. Hello? Is this thing on? Is there anyone out there? Am I all alone? I need a bigger axe. Very, very lucky. 28 skill, of course, because he has 99 woodcutting. This guy's got axes for days, but he drops a hand axe. And what about Cheese? All we have to do is defeat Cheese. We don't actually have to kill all these minions. Oh no. The Loop Tier. 1-2 range. A dark. 8 weight. Might 18. 155 hit. It's endless. It's endless. Don't even try and dodge this. We also have Mind Press. Adds resistance to attack. It also has Might 35. And it's range 1, but it's weight 20. But it's hit 150. Dark rank S, the Mind Press. Does it have a talisman? And an emblem ring. Negates crits. Users can repeat jokes without annoying viewers. Oh my god, I wish I had that ability. This guy's out of control. Cheese, a hired man working for the bandits plaguing Kalen. This is Dorcas's description, isn't it? What, the class is Elitist. Help. Well, if you don't know what the Elitist class is, well, maybe you should have paid attention. It's not my job to teach you what an Elitist does. Help. S-rank dark. Oh my god. Oh my god. 60 res? What is our nerd gonna do?
Your magic shall not save you.
So Mind Press is just an instant kill. How do you hurt him? 30 defense. So we might actually need Phila's Might to even damage him. Does Cheese move? Looks like he does, but not very far. We can also steal this mine, can't we? So that's one of our ways out. Well, that's all of the information. So what should we do? Keep in mind also, we do have warp. We have warp and we have rescue. Get a sage into general spear range. The sage? Sure. Let's try that. It'll take a dance to do that. Oh, he's red! Add one more to put the sage into spear range. Let's see if that works.
This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
Well, they didn't die. And they just stayed there. So he will drop the Ninny's Grace, but the mine we have to steal. So this will require a dance. We also have to make sure we have an empty inventory slot, which we do.
You didn't need that, did you? Yoink! We've got the mine!
And we should probably back up, right? The Kanto region. No real chance that this goes wrong, right?
Mind. Light. Saved my soul.
I will bring honor to my father and my kingdom.
The interns can actually gain experience. Ninny's Grace. So that does let us tank some stuff. This guy is very scary, right? This guy's very scary. Is there any way we can lure this guy? We kind of can't let him attack us, right? We can't mind glitch Legault because Legault is an assassin, so he won't trip the mine. Would it be possible to tank with the hero plus Ninny's Grace? Well, we actually have 25 defense. So we could actually have the hero tank this. What do we think of that? I think that's a pretty good idea. We just have to not get silenced. Check green tile on... Oh! If he just comes towards us, we should just back up, right? And get him next turn. Keep in mind, we do have supports between our units. Oh! Oh! Dot. Huh? What? Slept. So we lose one action to restore here. But we probably weren't doing anything else, right? Now this guy's pretty scary. He has a silver sword. And remember, we want to steal all of his stuff, right? We really want those speed wings. We both have to deal with this guy who's attacking us. And we're gonna need at least 2 turns to get all of those speed wings, because even with a dance, you want to sleep the messenger if possible. That's a good idea, but we don't have the sleep staff, it's over here. 1 speed wing on the assassin puts them over the boss's speed, and it lets us steal, right? We do have to kill this guy, though. And this guy counters everyone because he has a hand axe. This is almost certainly a brave sword, right? But we don't have the brave sword yet. Or this guy does, but he's asleep. If we restore from back here... How do we do with the brave sword here? Not a kill, but it does do a lot. There's actually 0 chance to kill. But then the Sage Intern can follow up, right? And they don't die. I have felled so many. You will be next. We could get crit and killed here. We didn't. Very nice. So brave. So brave! And attack from back here. Wow, that's a lot of damage. I think we actually just would have one-rounded him with this Intern. The issue is that we face almost a 50% chance to die. So the Sage Intern can't attack first. Back to agility training I go. The Dead Lords! They didn't deserve this. Now we have this issue, which is... we can't leave this Dancer in range because they will instantly die. Does she get one-shot by the... she doesn't get double, she has 25 speed. And with the Silver Sword, he has 40 attack. So she has 1 def... so she survives. We can actually leave her in range, but we can't leave anyone else. We can't leave this. So now I think both our Sage and our Valkyrie are exposed, but none of our units actually die to this, so this is okay. This is about what we expected. Why, yes, I will deliver on my threats. Die! Hey, we didn't die. And there's a sleep, which we do have to restore. We can box this guy in and steal his stuff, right? Gotta make sure that we dance after this, and that we have room. We do have room to steal everything. You didn't need that, did you? Yoink. The messenger doesn't have 2 range. Who would you use the sleep on? Maybe Cheese. But he has 60 res. I don't think we can sleep him. Cheese confirmed woke. We could sleep Legault, because Legault is very scary. We could also Ninny's Grace this Intern. And then, as long as he doesn't get assassinated, he's okay. The Sage. Oh, that's fine. Well, 2% chance that we die. Don't silence him. Not silenced. Perfect. We just steal here. And that's all 3 speed wings secured. Very nice. So now we can actually just kill this guy. How do we do with the killer bow here? We actually don't kill him. But we have a 50-50 to kill him. And we have plenty of contingencies. Well, a 50-50, right? Let's call it.
Left or right? Red or blue? Hit or miss? Call it.
Heads?
You think you'd stab to Dorcas the Deadeye?
Have you seen Archer the Brave?
Let darkness guide me.
Success. So I think let's get ready to do a warp heist next turn. Warp and rescue. It's gotta be the Brave Sword, right? So who gets these speed wings? The assassin with 1 increase of speed is then fast enough to steal the emblem ring, which then lets us crit him. So Loop Tier, at the moment, does actually double Dorcas. But if we give him the speed wings, he doesn't get doubled. Warp then rescue. Well, let's try this. Don't tell Shared.
It's warping time.
Do we actually one-round this guy is the thing? Because remember, we don't have any supports here. We do! It's like they planned this! It's a disaster. It's a disaster. Well, no, we can just rescue him out. Back to my ash pile. Good night. So you can actually warp in, kill him, and grab the sleep staff. Nerd slain. Alright, well, let's get him out of there, right? So from here is completely safe. Get back here. Very nice. Mission accomplished. Now we do have the sleep staff. We can sleep Legault and make it safer. I mean, we're doing this for sure, right? At least one. Oh, yeah.
You're too slow!
Alright, let's sleep this dude, right? Let's see what our sleep hit chance is. Their ranges don't overlap. So if we do attack, unfortunately Lilina is then going to attack. She has 70 attack. So I think she actually one-shots us. If Dorcas uses the talisman, he no longer gets one-shot by Volflame. They definitely did that on purpose. What's our sleep chance here? 100, perfect. It's like they planned this. Long time no see. Don't look so smug. The arena was merely a setback. Does she die in one hit? She actually might. 28 res. Oh, she actually... Lilina only has 10 speed, right? She only has 10 speed because she gets weighed down. What about this? We use the talisman. We dance. Then we rescue her. Because we don't get doubled. Even if we have our speed. I think this works, and she can't reach anyone else. Does it work? Oh, we actually get the Fire Dragon music here. Oh god, the Volflame. Oh! Okay, we actually would have survived without the talisman.
Your magic shall not save you.
Ah, only because of the support. See, the power of friendship. How do we do with the brave sword here? No, we just get obliterated. Phyllis might and she dies, right? But she has Phyllis might, so we have to steal it. We steal it, but then we have to get it to the dancer. We could also just try and assassinate her, which is a horrible chance, and we die. We do have Brave Axe. Ooh, one short. He has a better hit rate. We can just do this. So we can grab the recover him, Brave Axe, and then she's dead, right? That's easier. And she actually drops Phyllis Might. Can the Sage chip Lilina down to Dorcas range? Sage might survive an attack as well. No. Does the hero support Dorcas for damage? Maybe. I think the support is with this intern. So this should now be a kill. It is. We just have to hit both. Our skill is currently halved. So if we just drop this and then dance, we can just Brave Axe her. Oh, there we go. Now it's guaranteed because we dropped her. There's no RNG at all. Sorry, chick. You think you'd stand up to Dorcas the Defender? See you soon, Roy. She's out of here. Phyllis Might. Let's try and assassinate the assassin. That's a pretty good assassination chance. We can just dance and do it again, and he doesn't counterattack anyway. Not silenced. Not silenced. I guess it's time to meet. That's his actual death quote, right? Intern level. Pretty good. Strength and speed. We actually get the heroic music against Cheese here. This is it, Luigi. We're all healed up. We've got our supports. So how do we take on Cheese? We're all in position. Oh! We can only canto back 2 after this, so I think we actually are in danger. We can also steal the talisman for even more res. You didn't need that, did you? Yoink! We also could just do this, right? Like, actually just rescue. And rescue drop. How does an elitist have such low move? We get a dancer level here. If you sacrifice someone to the mind press, you can bully him from 2 range. That's true. If we let someone die to mind press, he only has 1 range equipped. Drinks boy! The Drinks boy! Did you give him, like, that's like even better than Corel growths. The Drinks boy, room to grow. Alright, should we see what Mind Press looks like? Oh, the Mind Press. Come, casuals. Come and marvel at this optimized stat line. 111 damage. Oh, pressed. Pressed. Now that's the power of resistance. Silverblade doesn't let us double. You should check out the Intern death lines. Okay. That's a pretty good silencer chance. Pressed. Owie. Oh, you'll pay for that! You think you can stand up to Intern the Inquisitive? Pressed. Oh, I'm cooked! Cooked. Hot dog confirmed. Oh my god, 43, not pressed. The drinks. Who will deliver them now? Always dutiful, always dutiful. So let's see, how much do we actually deal with the Devil Axe? Or with the Brave Axe? That's actually pretty good. Don't quadruple him, and there's no way we can either, because we're already at capped speed. So even with Phila's Might, this is only 30. If we don't kill him in one turn, he mind presses us, right? We could rescue out after attacking. That might be the only thing we can do. We can fill his might and then rescue out. But this is pretty strong. Yeah. We only have a 1% chance to die. Don't even need the talisman. We even have a pretty good crit chance here. Come, casuals. Come and marvel at this optimized stat line. You think you can stand up to Intern the Illustrious? Very nice. That's a lot of damage. Ooh. And we can just rescue out and take drop, right? Up on! Drop up? And then we can heal him, right? And then we can kill him next turn. That's strategy, right? Brave Axe, then Brave Sword. Well, obviously, we gotta get the last hit with... Oh, nice speed and defense. Obviously, we gotta get the last hit with Dorcas, right? Dorcas and the Devil Axe. Uh-oh. We get doubled. The Speed Wings. The Speed Wings, no problem. Silverblade, we don't double. Okay, that's good. Don't crit, don't crit. Beautiful, perfect. You think it'd be fitting if the interns got the final hit? I think Dorcas has to put his friend down. Devil Axe doesn't even kill him. What's the attack range? If I pick up here, he's no longer in range. And I can take drop here. I can actually do this. Because we still have rescue. Retreat! And we can just fill his might, Dorcas here. What's our hit rate with the Devil Axe? We do kill him. And let's show off the Mind Glitch, because the Mind Glitch is really fun. Alright, let's try this. This should work. First we mine, then we craft. What happened to my Canto ability? Alright, that might be an issue. Let's actually see. That should do it. Yep. So that's how it actually works. Oh, hey. Huh. You're all mine now. And now you can just control all the enemies. Now you don't need that, do you? I think we can wait, can we even give ourselves Volflame? They dropped their last item, right? I think we can make her drop the Volflame. We can make him use the talisman. Oh! Wait! My res! No, my res went down.
Your magic shall not save you.
Oh no, that's what I deserve for cheating. Like, this should make us drop Volflame, right? Yeah. Bro, we can kill Cheese with the Volflame because we also reduced his res. The Volflame. The Volflame. It's not a PRF, is it? It's not a PRF. Wow, I do 41 damage with Volflame because I reduced his res by using the talisman. You think you can stand up to Intern the Illustrious? Purged. Take that, Elitist. Gives us a slightly better chance, so we could miss. And we could also get backfired. What's our luck chance? What's our luck? Oh, we have 23 luck. The backfire chance is really small. I'm sorry, friend. There's no way this goes wrong. Let's get him. You think you can stand up to Dorcas the Deliverer? This changes nothing. The casuals must be purged. That's definitely something I would say. The talisman. It's shining. Is it the Fire Emblem? Hey, Dorcas! Batre? How did you get here? Oh, please don't tell me you're stuck here as well. Nope, I came to save you, pal. That Sakaean woman and her brother taught me some weird, strange magic. I was able to find you thanks to that amulet. Batre the Bugged saves the day. All of you, come and grab me. Let's go home, Batre. Yay! Ugh, my head. I don't remember anything. Where am I? For your crimes against the community, you have been sentenced to 50 more years of Pokemon prison. Game over. No! You can't do this to me, not without a trial! So begins the trial of Bandit Lord Omar the Ogre. What say you in your defense?
Go a few days without jerking your belly, and see how civilized you act. Do your worst.
So be it. For your crimes against the kingdom and her people, we sentence you to Pokemon prison.
No. No, please, anything but that. No. 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 I'm sorry.
Game over.
No. 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 There is no good ending. You actually just get a game over. Well, thanks a zillion to Shared for that amazing final challenge. What'd you guys think of that? A bit more involved than Luna critting the fire dragon, right?